Huss and Dalton TDM. This was made in 2009 by my dear friends Huss and Dalton in Stanton, Virginia. It was sold to Texas. It was purchased in Texas by a guy who played in an old family band, a Southern gospel kind of band in Nashville. That's where it spent most of its life. And then 3 years ago, it was sold to the guy that I bought it from in Virginia Beach. So I want to tell you how I bought this guitar, what I paid for it, and why this guitar is going to hang around with me for a long, long time. So I found this guitar, I saw it on Craigslist, and I also saw it on reverb.com. I always use cash in hand to get a small discount. Most of the time that works really great. Other times it offends people and ruins the deal. Watch the video here where because I undercut a guy on a Music Master, he just didn't show up. So I'm learning that lesson. But I used the same trick and it worked this time. It didn't work that time. But so he was asking $2,200. He was 4 hours away. But the trick is he didn't want to ship it. And so he's 4 hours from me. We're still in the pandemic. I still work full time. So it was just complicated trying to figure out the details of how we would get together. So at first I thought, well, maybe I could get away. I could meet him halfway. I could meet him in Richmond, which is 2 hours for me, about 2 hours for him. But just the timing wasn't going to work out. I couldn't take off work. I didn't want to get away during the day. I don't want to take time away from my kids. Don't want to drive at night. So all of these factors led to where I was like, oh man, maybe I'm not going to get this guitar. And then at the last second, he said, well, we have family in Charlottesville, which is an hour closer for me. So it's an hour for me and 3 hours for him. So he said that he would come to Charlottesville for the same price, for the $2,000. And I was tickled pink. So I went and I got cash from the bank. And then we just kind of made a quick morning of it where I drove over. We went to, there's a Trader Joe's over there. So we went over, I took my family. I didn't film any of it for a couple of reasons. The main reason was that my family was with me and it's just always more complicated because I don't want to film them. It's hard for me to talk when they're all talking. We met at a coffee shop and you know, COVID is still interesting. So I brought some hand sanitizer with me. I sanitized my hands right before I opened the case. He was sitting there, he'd been there for a couple minutes. And so I played the guitar and then sanitized my hands again, handed him an envelope of cash. He sanitized his hands and then he opened it and counted through the money while I was just sitting around. Plunking and playing guitar. And this one is fun because it actually has wear. Huss and Daltons are so well made and people typically take such good care of them that they stay very minty, which always makes me feel uncomfortable because I don't keep things minty. I don't beat things up, but it just makes me nervous. So for me, I always feel more comfortable when I get a guitar that has a couple dings, a couple dents, a couple weird things about it. So this guitar has really fun wear. When it was sold in Texas to the guy who is from Nashville, he played in like a Southern family gospel band. And apparently it was him. He played guitar and then he had 4 or 5 kids that played mandolin and accordion and all these other instruments. What's funny is when you look at the wear on this guitar, so hold it this way. All of the wear, there's a bunch of buckle rash, like right down here. And it's funny because you can tell that this guy probably played the guitar up really high. And apparently that guy had always wore a big belt buckle and a cowboy hat. So that makes total sense. All this wear down low just comes from sitting up high, bumping into a belt buckle. One of the other things that's really interesting is looking at the wear on this guitar. I'm pretty sure that the guy used an Elliott Capo. I use a Paige, they're similar, but the Elliots are incredible capos. If you push them up too high, they kind of ding the side of the headstock. And so that's definitely what he played. There's one tiny little diagonal finish crack. At first I freaked out because I thought it was maybe a neck crack. It's not. It's not moving anywhere. I talked to the guy who owned it. He's owned it for 2 years before this. It's never moved. But I got this guitar because it was just a well-used guitar. And it had some fun mojo and vibe to it. The finish is also coming up here where you can tell the guy probably had a ring or something. And all the wear on the neck seems to be in that first 3 to 5 frets. But I saw this guitar, I really wanted to buy it. He was only asking $2,200. It's hard to find the market on these, but $2,200 still feels low. I think that this is probably a $2,500 to $3,000 guitar. The new MSRP on this is $4,200 and some change. Kimberly from Huss and Dalton texted me what current price on this guitar would be. The other thing is the top has become really beautifully yellow along the way. So this is Sitka spruce top. It's not torrefied. I don't think they were doing torrefaction or the aged tops in 2009. I want to say that started 2013, 2014. But this top has gotten really beautifully golden yellow. When I bought a Huss and Dalton around the same time this guitar was made, and I didn't do any aging toner, and it was white like a sheet of paper. But this is just a really beautiful color. Ebony pins, ebony bridge, ebony fingerboard. So the TDM model is a very traditional style Martin D18-ish. So it has the through saddle. Which complicates if I'm going to put a pickup in this guitar, which I will, but more than likely I'll end up putting a K&K Pure Mini that mounts on the soundboard underneath this, or that mounts on the bridge plate underneath the bridge, so I don't have to do an under saddle, because that gets a little trickier when you have a through saddle. The other wonderful thing on this guitar that just immediately caught me is the nickel Waverly tuners, and these are the oval buttons. They're very cool. Open gear. They look really cool, and then they also have a good functionality. It's fun that they're very tight, where some of the Grovers, you get some play in them, some slack in these. They just feel very resonant. They feel very solid, like they are a very tight part of the guitar itself. My top 3 priorities that I'm going to look for in a guitar is the first thing I do is I look for cracks and finish issues. So I first take the guitar and I look around. I'm looking for finish issues. I'm looking for things that would scare me off. And then the second thing I'm doing is looking at playability. So I looked at the saddle, I looked at the string height, and then I look for any parts that could be changed or modified. There's no pickup in it. That's one of the first things I looked for. The tuners are original. They hadn't been changed. The nut is original. The saddle is original. So I knew that this guitar had been played, but taken care of and loved, and it hadn't been abused or misused. It does have a strap button. Strap button is in a good place. Sometimes that kills me. Sometimes people put strap buttons on in terrible places, or they use really cheap strap buttons. And so I picked up the guitar. I played through it. So I looked at the guitar. I had no issues. I felt like I was getting a really good deal at $2,000. He did tell me that on the way in, he got someone that said that they would pay full price if he would ship it. And by the time we worked through, if you sell it online, you're going to give 3% to a credit card processor. If you pay it online, you're going to give another 3% to Reverb or whichever platform you sold it through. And then you're also going to have to pay for shipping. Like maybe they'll pay for shipping, but still. So we did the math, and $2,000 cash to me in person was still a much better deal than paying through all of those other pieces. Cash is always better. In person is always better. You get to see the guitar right away. This deal worked out great. It was very seamless. It was only maybe a 5 or 10 minute thing. It's about a 45-minute drive for us, and we got to just spend some time together. And then I got a great guitar, and I am tickled pink with this thing. Immediately, people on YouTube and Instagram started asking me, like, well, are you going to sell your Gibson? What are you going to do with your J45? And I was torn, and I all of a sudden realized, like, well, I'm not under the gun to sell the J45, but I probably will end up selling it because these guitars are very similar. One of the next videos I would like to make is just the shootout of a factory-made guitar versus a boutique guitar. They're both Sitka spruce tops. They're both mahogany back and sides. They're both mahogany necks. The Gibson is a rosewood fingerboard. This one is an ebony fingerboard and bridge. But they're very similar guitars. So the reality is I have $1,300 in the J45 and I have $2,000 in this one. I'm pretty sure I could sell that J45 for about what I have in this, and then all of a sudden it comes out in the wash. I kind of get the money back out of this. I would rather consolidate money into a really great boutique guitar, because this guitar, to me, it feels so in line with the story of my own life. grew up here, and then moved out and about, had tons of adventures, moved around the country, and then came back and just have fallen deeply in love with the place that I'm from. A friend of mine referred to this guitar as a hometown hero, and that's exactly what it feels like to me. It's a great guitar. It's been out and about. It's been played. It has a story to tell. So many of the things about this guitar feel really resonant with me and my life. So I love this guitar. I'm really excited to have it. I hope you go and you find really cool guitars that use the practical tips and tricks that I share. And when you find those cool guitars, let me know. So thanks for watching this video. I'm Jeremy. I'm the Guitar Hunter. I'm very thankful that we're in it together. I'll see you guys later.